Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Today we have Quanta CRM with us, and Eric will be presenting on 7 reasons you need Dynamics 365 CRM now. And we just ask, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them into the questions box and we will get them called out toward the end of the webinar. And yes, we do record all of our webinars, so this will be available on our website later this week for you to review again, or if you'd like to share it with anyone. So now I will turn it over to Eric, and he will begin our presentation.
Thanks, Angie. Appreciate that. My name is Eric Anderson with Quanta CRM, and I'm just going to start out with a brief slide deck to set the table. What is CRM? Is your organization a good candidate? What's different about the Microsoft CRM product versus other CRM systems? And first, I just want to say thanks to Innovia for this great opportunity. They're one of Microsoft's top Dynamics Nav partners and also Dynamics 365 Business Central. And they just have a great reputation in the Microsoft community, so appreciate them letting us do this presentation on Dynamics CRM. And one other thing I'll just kind of point out is Microsoft has rebranded Dynamics CRM to fall under this Dynamics 365 umbrella. So I still get in the habit of saying Dynamics CRM a lot. We're a CRM company. You can see our name is Quanta CRM. But Microsoft is the point of Dynamics 365 is to have this suite of applications. So you would have components of CRM like sales and marketing and customer service, but you'd also have things like field service, project service automation, Business Central, which is an accounting piece that's similar to Nav. So all of those applications fall under Dynamics 365. So just wanted to point that out. If I go back and forth a little bit, Dynamics 365, Dynamics CRM, just realize this particular presentation is going to focus on the CRM components. So that would be Dynamics 365 sales, and we'll touch a little bit on customer service. So we've been doing CRM a long time at Quanta CRM. We have over 300 successful implementations of CRM. It's all we do. We basically eat, sleep, and breathe CRM. And we look at CRM as a tool that can be applied to your specific organizational needs so that you can be successful. We work directly with Innovia and serve as their Dynamics 365 sales arm. And let me just hop into the 7 reasons for Dynamics 365 CRM. So this application serves as a centralized database. You would have visibility into what's happening with accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, all of the activities and the communications around those different types of entities. So when was the last time I spoke with this person? When was the last time I reached out to this customer? What's the status of this opportunity and what was the last communication? So just that centralized database so you can see what everybody's working on and have information at your fingertips. Automate marketing interactions. So we can create campaigns with different waves inside of Dynamics 365. There's some very light marketing. You can create marketing lists and have these campaigns. If we're really looking at email marketing automation, there are some other solutions. There's a Dynamics 365 for marketing that we're not really going to touch on today. There's also a program called Click Dimensions. It's a solution that sits right inside of Dynamics CRM. So those are more of the heavy lifting marketing applications. But out of the box, there are some basic marketing features inside of Dynamics 365 for sales. Business intelligence, we have dashboards and reports inside of the program. That's where I'm going to start the presentation today when I give you the live demo. So there's also Power BI. Power BI is another Microsoft product, a true business intelligence product, and there's content packs that pull in a set of data from Dynamics CRM into Power BI. So quite a few options when it comes to business intelligence. Facilitate communication. So when we talk about that, one great thing about a CRM system, and Dynamics CRM in particular, is you can set up automated workflows that are going to trigger communications or trigger some type of an action. So if you create a new opportunity, and if a week after you've created that opportunity, there's no change, nothing's been updated, maybe you want to have a task that's created for the owner of that opportunity. or maybe you want to have an email to the sales manager or to the prospect. So things like that can be created very easily with the workflows. And so the goal here is to be proactive rather than reactive with those types of communications. Tracking sales opportunities, this is kind of what people envision when they think of a CRM system, that sales pipeline, the sales funnel, what's happening with our opportunities, what's the next step, what's my projected revenue. It can be used as as kind of an estimating how much revenue are we expected to bring in this month or next month. And when we get deeper than that, it's making sure that salespeople are asking the right questions, collecting the essential information, and recording that information into CRM. So there's specific steps that we can create around the opportunity entity, and I'm going to open that up later and kind of show you what I'm talking about there. Analyze data. Every piece of CRM data can be exposed, viewed in list views, on forms, exported to Excel. Again, there's a Power BI business intelligence tool. So there's just a lot of different ways to analyze data. And then finally, enable responsive customer service. So this can just mean being proactive, making sure your customers are happy, following up on a regular basis with the activities and the communications. Or if you want to get deeper into customer service, there's case tracking. So there's case entities, there's queues, there's knowledge base articles. So if you have a customer service department that's fielding, issues or incidents and you need to track those, there's some deeper customer service functionality. So what is CRM? In really high level, CRM is an application that's designed to make your business more efficient and profitable. And there's a couple of key ways in which it can do this. One is with visibility, so you can see what everybody is working on, find out information about your customers, contacts, opportunities, activities. Again, just visibility into what's happening with your organization. And then automation, we like to think of CRM as a little personal assistant that's sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear, reminding you to do things. So just like that proactive follow-up that I was talking about earlier, if you need to create some type of if-then statement, if this box isn't checked, or if this box is checked, I want to update a different record or send out an email or create a task. There's all sorts of things that we can do to automate operations. And CRM is really designed to find customers, get customers, and then keep customers. And how that kind of relates to the different modules in CRM is finding customers would be marketing automation. So we can create marketing lists and keep track of marketing campaigns inside of CRM. Getting customers would be more of that sales automation, again, more of that sales pipeline, the sales funnel. How are we doing with our opportunities? Are we closing deals? What can we put in place? What processes, what workflows can we put in place to make sure that we're closing as many deals as possible? And then keeping customers is back to that customer service. And again, that could be just tracking communications, making sure we have regular outreach and we're being proactive and we're talking to those customers. Or it could be something like case management and knowledge base articles and maybe a customer self-service portal so they can actually get in and track the status of their cases. And it can do a lot more. So when we talk about and more, we'll look at personal dashboards, the Outlook integration. You can have a customer portal, like I just mentioned, a lot of advanced customization, integration if needed with accounting or other applications. And then project service automation and field service are two applications that sit inside of the CRM platform. Most of our customers are more straight CRM, but if you need field services or if you're managing projects, these are nice Dynamics 365 applications that sit under that 365 umbrella. And a few things about Dynamics 365 in particular. So a lot of that I just went through applies to CRM in general. Dynamics is extremely easy to use. It's been updated. The user interface has been updated several times over the last 5 years, and it's just extremely easy to move around. It's intuitive, and I'm going to demonstrate that here in just a minute. It's very flexible, so you can configure and customize the system to your needs. And there are organizations with 1 or 2 users using this product, and then there are organizations with 10 to 20,000 users using this product. And what that tells you is it's easy enough and intuitive enough for a very small organization to pick this up and use it, but then it can grow. It can be developed and modified and configured to meet the needs of a very large, complex organization. It has an amazing value. So Dynamics 365 offers all the benefits of the top. Basically, it's one of the top CRMs. If you look at Gartner independent studies, there's 2 or 3 CRMs in that top right quadrant, one of which is Dynamics 365. The nice thing about Dynamics 365 is it's typically about half the price as those other leading CRM systems. So it can do anything that the other top CRM systems can do, but it's half the price. So it really has a great value. And then integration with the Microsoft platform. If you're a Microsoft shop, you're using Office 365, Outlook, SharePoint, Yammer, OneNote, there are built-in integrations with all of those things. So rather than rather than trying to integrate or add on, Microsoft is really building these things together. So when they're upgrading Outlook, for instance, part of that upgrade is, okay, let's talk about the integration with Dynamics 365 and the app that sits inside of Outlook. So they're building these things together to be seamlessly integrated. So a few questions you can ask yourself, do I need CRM? Are you happy with your current processes for tracking? Basically, are you tracking your the activities of your sales team? Do you have visibility into the status of your leads and opportunities? Could you be following some specific processes that takes your team, through specific questions, through stages that would help you win more deals? Do you feel like things are slipping through the cracks? Sometimes I like to think of this as, with an accounting software, you're going to track your inventory. You want to know what's going on with your inventory. If there's inventory shrinkage, how do we figure out what's missing? Well, same thing with sales. We need to be on top of sales, or we're going to be losing sales and we're going to have no idea why we lost a sale. And some common pain points, frustrations with processes and efficiency, information stored in multiple places. Salespeople, what we see a lot is the salesperson spends, 1 day a month producing a report for their manager to say, here's what I did, versus if it's already in CRM, they don't have to do that. Maybe you're not sure why you're winning or losing deals and you need more information around that. Your company has been growing and it's just time, your sales team is growing and you need a system. Issues with customer service consistency, so that's another thing to pay attention to. One of the biggest things we see is just the information stored in multiple places. So everybody's using their own spreadsheets, they've got Outlook for their contacts, and if your top salesperson gets hit by a bus tomorrow, there's no central database where you can get in and see what they've been working on and what they've been doing. Okay, so I'm going to hop into the presentation now. Just a minute while I get the screens oriented properly here. And I think I just need to change this to 1. Okay, so what we should be looking at this point is my Dynamics CRM sandbox. And I'm just going to point out that you can log into CRM. It's Dynamics 365 is a cloud-hosted product. It's hosted by Microsoft, and we can log in with Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari if you're on a Mac. And Microsoft's goal is really to be device agnostic. So if I look at this interface right here and I hit the drop down, I can see, dashboards, accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities. Well, over here is a app for tablets. And I can see the same dashboards here, and then if I hit the navigation button down here, I can see that same, that same outline. I can drop into dashboards, activities, accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities. And so really the idea is that if I move from my desktop where I'm in this browser, and I move over to, for instance, this app, which is for a tablet, or if I move over to my phone app, it's going to be basically one experience across all those devices. So that's what I mean when I talk about Microsoft being device agnostic. So I like to start out with dashboards. Dashboards are extremely powerful. The idea is that this is where you start. You log into CRM and it's a good starting point. I can see, for instance, here's a sales dashboard, and if I'm a salesperson, I want to know what activities do I have that are outstanding? What are my open opportunities? What are my open leads? If I scroll down, I'll see my active accounts. I can see my open opportunities. I can see closed opportunities that I've had. And again, just a lot of information right at my fingertips. If I wanted to work through some of these activities, I can hit select and say, oh yeah, I completed these 3. Come over here to this and say mark those as complete. So right from here, I can actually just get to work, get a lot of things done. And what's great is that you can have different types of dashboards that are targeted towards different types of users. So here's a sales dashboard for a salesperson. If I scroll down, here's an overview dashboard that's targeted more towards a manager or an owner, that rather than looking at my activities and my open opportunities and things like that, this is going to be looking at all open opportunities or all closed opportunities that have been won or lost. I could have some different list views below, like what are my open opportunities that are expected to close in the next 90 days? What are open opportunities? How many days have these been open? So I can try to figure out why some of these have been open for so long. But basically, any piece of information can be put into a dashboard, whether that's in a list view like this, or whether it's in a chart or a graph like this. And what's really great about this is it's a starting point, but we can drill down into this. So if I'm looking at this this pipeline of all open opportunities, and I want to click on one of these phases, so I have a qualify phase, a develop phase, a propose phase, and a close phase. Well, let's see what's being developed right now. So I can click on that particular phase, and it's automatically filtered the records on the right here. So I can still see the total pipeline, but these are just the opportunities that are sitting in the phase 2 develop. So I can get a good idea of what's happening there. What's in the close phase? I've got a few opportunities in here. What's in the proposed phase? And then at some point, I may want to drill down into that particular record. So I start with a very high level view, drill a little bit deeper, and then finally I'm down to the record level, and I can click on that opportunity, pull it up, and get a really good look at what's happening with this opportunity. What fields do we have, or what steps have been completed in this particular stage? What's next to do in the proposed stage? I can see the timeline right here in the middle, which is telling me the activities around this opportunities, emails, tasks, phone calls, things like that. So a lot of information, very high level summary information, but down, we can easily drill down to the details. So dashboards are really a key to efficiency and productivity. And there's several dashboards out of the box Microsoft provides, but you can take any of these dashboards. I'm going to switch to a different user interface. And one thing I'll just point out really quickly is this is a Sales Hub interface. And if I scroll over here, this is a Customer Service Hub. And you'll see some differences. If I go to Customer Service Hub, I see accounts, contacts, cases, queues, knowledge, articles. If I go to the Sales Hub, I'm going to see a lot more. I'm going to see leads, opportunities, quotes, orders, invoices. And the idea here, just like with the dashboards, is you can design these apps for different types of users. So if I'm just working on customer service, I just want to see cases and queues and accounts and contacts. But if I'm a salesperson, I want to see some of this information as well. This interface in the middle is kind of the traditional desktop user interface. And this is where we can do a lot of customization things if I want to go into settings and customizations and solutions. So the only reason I'm pointing this out is I'm going to bounce back a little bit because this is somewhat limited as an app. I can bounce back to this user interface and say, okay, let's say for instance that I want to modify this overview dashboard. And just to show you kind of the ease of use here. So I can take a dashboard like this, I can click on edit. There are different components to the dashboard here. I have these different sections. So if I wanted to take let's say opportunities expected to close, and edit that component. I can open that up, change the entity type that I want to look at with this list view, or change the default view. I can decide whether I want to be looking at a chart or whether it is a list view. And so there's just, the sky's the limit as far as modifying these dashboards and pulling in the information you want. So just wanted to pop in really quick and show you that. So back to our sales hub here. So if we talk about navigation, we've looked a little bit about this already, but if I go into the sitemap, it's very laid out very intuitively. So I go into the sitemap and here's what I can see: dashboards, activities, accounts, contacts. If I click on accounts, here's my default account list. I can change the default list views. So if I wanted to basically say, let's look at all accounts, I could pin that as my default list view. And if I open up a particular account, let's say we open up Microsoft Organization here, I have the ability to kind of punch this over to the side, which would show me the other accounts down the side here, but then I have the main account that I'm working on right here. I really like this feature. This is new with this new user interface. So if I want to switch over to Snowbird, for instance, I can click on Snowbird. Now I'm on a different account. And then if I don't want this record set on the side, I can always close that too. So very easy navigation. If I'm familiar with these little icons, like that's accounts, that's contacts, that's quotes, I can just click right on there. So there's accounts, there's contacts. So if I want to go to a contact list, click on that little button. If I want to go back to accounts, click on this button. Up at the top, we have a search. This is a global search. So you can actually determine which records you want to search with the global search. By default, I think they have account, contact, user, activity. These are the default records. But if you didn't care about users or you didn't care about leads, you could remove those from the global search. So the global search is searching across all these different record types. And so if I type in, let me type in Alpine, which is one of our customers, you can see it pulls back an account, it pulls back contacts, opportunities. From here, I can just click on whatever I want and it takes me right to that record. Now, if I don't know what the record begins with, but let's say with Alpine Ski House, I can't remember the Alpine part, but I know it has something to do with skiing. So I can use an asterisk here as a wildcard, type in ski, hit enter, and I'm going to get the same results because it's finding ski in all of these records. Let's say I pull back a lot of records, so I'm just going to put asterisk S, so anything with an S in it is obviously going to bring back a lot of stuff. So I've got all these matches. I can come into this sidebar and filter these. So maybe I just want to look at accounts or activities that have that particular match. There's also a quick add button up here, which is nice. So let me actually open up an account here. So this is what the account form looks like, and there's a decent amount of information to fill out here. If I just want to quickly get an account added and kind of saved, and I'll come back to it later and deal with it, that's what this create a new record quick add is for. So if I hit the plus button here, I've got a lot of options. I can quickly add an account or an opportunity or an activity, but I'm going to go back and add an account. And all this is a slimmed down, streamlined form. This could be 2 fields. This could be 10 fields. Whatever you're comfortable with, we can modify these forms. It's very easy to do that, and I'm gonna show that a little bit later. So if I want to quickly add an account here, I'm just going to type in an account name. Any other information I need. The only required field for this is the red asterisk right here, which is the account name. So that's all I really need to create an account. At this point, I could save it. And I have I've quickly created a new account here, so I can always go into that account now. So a nice quick add feature, and again, that form can be designed to your particular business needs. So let's take a look at accounts and contacts and just kind of the layout of these forms, so you can get a feel of what this looks and feels like. So if I'm on an account, I have some basic summary information over here: account name, phone, website. I have some related items over here, like primary contact, other contacts, recent opportunities, recent cases if I'm using the customer service. Right down the middle is the communications or the activities. They call it the timeline. These are going to be phone calls, emails, appointments, or tasks. And so there's 4 kind of key activity types: appointment, email, phone call, task. These would also include posts, like if an opportunity closed, that's an automatic post that ends up in this timeline, or if a case was resolved or something like that. So it does update, have some automatic updates as well. But for instance, if I wanted to add a phone call, I can just come up here, say add phone call. It opens up this little quick sidebar. And I could just type in some notes called Paul. Great. Paul is the default or the primary contact for this account, so it defaults to Paul. But if I wanted to pull in a different account, I could do that. Or sorry, a different contact, I could do that. You know, if I wanted to schedule this call, I could put a date on it. Otherwise, when I save this, it's just going to assume that it's a completed phone call. Basically, I made the phone call, it's completed, it's all good to go. If there's tasks or activities down here that aren't completed, I can, you know, open that task up and maybe add some notes to it if I wanted to, and complete the task. So there's a lot of options with this activity pane down the middle here. So so when we talk about activities on this timeline, there's appointments, emails, phone calls, tasks. The way I work with CRM, the way a lot of people I think work with CRM is I'll add a lot of tasks inside of CRM, just kind of, hey, I need to follow up with this contact or this account or this opportunity. I need to make sure I follow up with them next week. I'll also put phone calls in directly into CRM. I'll be in CRM making calls and record that call. Emails and appointments, I'm an Outlook user, so I do most of that stuff inside of Outlook. And so what's great about this is if I put a task into CRM, that task is going to flow over to Outlook, and let's say on 8 a.m. tomorrow when I put the due date of the task, it's going to pop up inside of Outlook. And emails and appointments that I tag from Outlook back to CRM will flow back to CRM. So there's a really tight integration with Outlook, and let me just demonstrate that really quickly. So if I pull a particular email over here, I'm going to click this Dynamics 365 button, which opens up this little side pane. And what I want to do is I want to track this email against a particular record. Now that could be an opportunity, a lead, a contact, an account, you know, whatever record type it makes sense to track this against. And this always takes a little bit slower when we're on a go-to meeting or a go-to webinar, so I'm going to be patient and let this pop up. You can pin this once it's up. There's a little pin button, so you can always have these sidebars popped up. I'll give that a second here. But while we're waiting for this, so we can track emails to particular records in CRM. We can track appointments to records in CRM. We can add contacts. So if we wanted to, let's say I received an email from somebody and I don't know who that person is, or not an existing contact for me, I can just say, let's add this person as a contact from the sidebar. And that's going to add it to CRM. It's also going to be synced to Outlook as well. So quite a bit of things, quite a bit of functionality from here. But this is kind of what people do the most, is I'm sending an email to someone, or I received an email from somebody, and I want to track it back to CRM. So based on this email address, I already have this contact. It exists in CRM. It comes back and it says, hey, we know who this is. This is Quanta CRM Tests. They're the VP of Sales. Here's some phone numbers. They're also tied to this account, and they're also the primary contact on this opportunity. So basically what it's saying here is, what do you want to do? Do you want to track it to the opportunity? What exactly do you want to do? So if I wanted to track it to the account, for instance, I could click on this button and you can see it's pending tracking to the account. Or if I wanted to just track it to let me just untrack this here. Untrack. So it's not tracked at this point. So if I wanted to track it to the opportunity, I could say set regarding. And so what that does is it takes this email and it puts it underneath the activity pane of that particular opportunity. And the other nice thing it does is because this opportunity is tied to this account and it's tied to this contact, that email is also going to show up under the account activity pane and the contact activity pane inside of Dynamics. So that's kind of a common thing, is just the set regarding. Another thing we could do is we can add templates. So if I wanted to add an email template, now these are email templates that I've configured and created inside of Dynamics. So I'm going to add a template, and I can look up the different email templates available to me. So if I wanted to say lost opportunity notification, or I want to follow up on our meeting or something like that, I can select the email template that's appropriate, add it to the email. And what that is it does a little mail merge in here. So dear John contact, it's going to insert the name that's tied to this particular contact. I'd like to thank you for the time to meet with us. So it's inserting text, but it's also merging data from CRM because this email template was created in CRM. So another way that you can kind of save time, you could also insert knowledge base articles if you're more on the customer service side and you need to send an email out and you have this great knowledge base article that tells them exactly how to fix the issue. You could insert a knowledge article. You could insert sales literature like a price list. So if you're trying to send out the latest price list to one of your distributors, you could attach that as well. So quite a bit of functionality in here. If I go to more of the home page, there's even the ability to see dashboards. And if I come over here, you can see there's a quick create. I can add accounts, I can add activities. So there's just a lot of functionality inside of Outlook, which really helps with adoption. I mean, most users in an organization are already comfortable with Outlook. They're already using Outlook. So if they can do 25 to 50% of their CRM work inside of Outlook, that really helps get people up and running with CRM. I'm going to go to this other traditional user interface real quick and just talk about designing these forms. And so we looked at we kind of looked at the layout of the forum in the updated user interface. If I look at it inside of this user interface, it's pretty similar. I have the summary information here, the activities down the middle, contact and related records over here on the right. And what's nice is if you go over to a contact record, so if we switch over to Paul Cannon here, I'll have a very similar layout. Here's my contact information, summary information. Here's related records down the right side, and here's my activity pane right in the middle with those phone calls, tasks, appointments, emails. What's great about this is, there's a default layout for these forms, but it's very easy to modify this. If I want to add fields into this section or remove fields or add different sections with different sets of related information, that can be done relatively easily with this form design. So if I come up here and click on form, this will take me into the form editor. I'm just going to maximize this a little bit. And we can see here's that account information section. Here's the activities pane in the middle. Here are those related records down the side, contacts, opportunities. To remove a field, I can just highlight the field, click on remove. If I want to add a field, I can go over to the field explorer, find the field that's important to me and drag and drop it onto the form where I want. I even have the ability to add new fields. So down at the bottom here is a new field button. And this would be where I could say, hey, I need some type of a new field attached to the account. And it's going to say, well, what type of field is it? What data type is it? Is it a number, currency, text, maybe an option set? If it's an option set, I can plug in the values here. But the ability to add new fields on the fly from this form designer is kind of neat. So just wanted to point that out, the form designer. Let me hop over now into Inside View. So Inside View is an application that Microsoft, a few years back, it was more of an add-on, and Microsoft, I can't remember if they acquired the company, but they basically bundled it into the software. So if I go to related over here, I have this insights button, and let me actually get on an account that's a real company like Microsoft Corporation. And if I click on related and go to insights, this is going to give me a bunch of information about Microsoft. I can see, their business information. I can see the key contacts. This news typically loads. I've been having issues with that this morning and didn't get a chance to resolve this, but any recent press releases would show up right here. And the goal of this is that you can call up your contact at Microsoft or whatever company you're dealing with and say, hey, I read that there's some recent news. How are things going? Or I can do some industry research before I give them a call and understand a little bit more about that industry. Maybe if they're a public company, maybe I'm looking at the financials and I have information like that. I can find contacts. So, obviously Microsoft has a lot of contacts, but if there's a particular contact I'm looking for and I find them, I would be able to add them as a contact into Dynamics. So a lot of functionality around this insights or inside view, and some of our customers just love this. This is one of their favorite features. Another kind of neat thing you can do is, let's say I add a new company, and we'll go to the dark side here and say Apple Incorporated, and I'm going to save that. I'm just going to ignore that. I guess I've used that before. But so now if I come over to Insights, this is brand new. I haven't populated any information yet. What I would have the ability to do is to sync this, basically pull all the information from here and populate that on my summary area of this particular account. And if I do that over here, let me pop, that interface is a little bit newer, and maybe I don't have the ability to do it right from there, but there is a sync button right here. And what this would do is if I hit this sync button, I can see the information that Inside View is providing, and it has all of these different fields. And then I can see the information that's in my CRM system in the account fields. Now, in this case, it's already been synced, so they all match up. But if they didn't, let's say half of this was empty, I could just say update the account, and it populates all the information for me. And I always get the question, well, where is this pulling from? So Inside View uses routers, S&P Capital, Inside View, user-generated stuff, and Equifax. So it's pulling from a variety of databases to make sure that the information is accurate. Okay, another thing I want to point out is the SharePoint integration. So we looked at Outlook integration. Another great thing is SharePoint integration. I'm just going to pull up an account that has some records in SharePoint. We'll go back to Alpine Ski House. So also under this related tab, I have documents. If I click on documents, I can see that there's 7 files here. They can be, OneNote files, JPEGs, Excel, Word files, PDFs, whatever we want. So what's great about this is the files are totally accessible, viewable. I can open these up. I can do all of this inside of Dynamics, but they're actually files that are sitting inside of SharePoint. And so if I want to open up the SharePoint location, I can do that too. I can go to Open Location, open up the documents on SharePoint, and here's that same list of the 7 documents. So what's nice about this is with any online CRM system, you basically have a limited amount of storage database. And with Microsoft, it's pretty generous, and it's not expensive to add additional storage like some of the other online CRM systems. But if you're using this SharePoint integration, you probably will never need to, because if you take files, typically the way storage space gets eaten up the quickest is with attachments and files. So if we're storing those in SharePoint instead of directly in the CRM database, like in this scenario, it's a great solution. It's very accessible from CRM. It's actually sitting in SharePoint, and you're not eating up your CRM storage space. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the business process flows. So business process flows is really steps and stages. So when we look at the opportunity, we have different stages and we have different things we want to get checked off on each stage. You can start with an opportunity record and start there, but sometimes if you have a lead first, you want to put in a lead and then you qualify the lead and work through to an opportunity. So I'm just going to start with a lead. We'll put in a new lead here. And you can see required fields are topic and last name. Recommended field is first name. There's not a lot that I have to record here to set up a lead. So for the topic, I'm just going to put in some notes here. And then first name, just going to use a unique number here, so I make sure it's a unique individual. And I'm also going to put in a company down here, so we'll just put in company 0816. So at this point, we have a lead. We've saved a lead. Like I said, there's not a ton of information that's required to create the lead. The idea would be in a normal business environment that now we're going to work this lead. We're going to maybe make phone calls or appointments or send emails out and try to get some interest, see if there is some interest with this lead. At some point with a lead, I'm either going to qualify the lead or I'm going to disqualify the lead and say it's pretty much garbage and there's no opportunity here. If I qualify the lead, what the system does is it takes the lead and it moves it into an opportunity record. It takes the name here and it creates a contact from that name. And it also takes the company and it creates an account record from this company. So 3 things happen automatically when I say qualify a lead. So I'm going to go ahead and qualify this lead. And we'll kind of watch this happen. So now it has moved from a lead to an opportunity. I have a contact with a hyperlink. I have an account with a hyperlink because it created an account and it created a contact. And you can see that now I'm on an opportunity record. And on the opportunity record, I have these different stages. Develop, where I can say, hey, let's mark this complete. We've identified the stakeholders, the competitors, what's the proposed solution, what's the customer need. And so I kind of work through these steps and stages, and when I've filled this information out, I can move through to the next stage, which is propose. Now, you can have any fields you want on these stages. You can make them required fields. If it's a required field, it won't let me move from this particular stage to propose. For instance, if I said customer need is a required field and this was empty, I wouldn't be able to move this forward. I would have to populate something in here. And so to show you kind of the ease of design of this, I'm going to switch again back to this other user interface where I'm just going to pull up an opportunity here. And from this opportunity screen, I can go into the process and say, let's edit the process. So the process is everything that's above this gray line. That's the stages and the fields that are tied to each stage. You can see it looks a little bit different in this user interface, but if I go to process and say, let's edit that process, this gives me the design view of here's my stage. My stage is qualify, develop, propose, and then I have close over here at the right. And then under the details are the steps or the fields that are tied to each stage. And so it's very easy to modify this. If I wanted to change the description from, develop to something else, I would just modify that over here. I could change propose. I can add additional stages. So if I said, let's add a stage between develop and propose, I could click this plus button. Now I've got develop, new stage, and propose, and I can give this a name. We'll say this is develop to go down in the details, and I can start adding fields to this. You can even have conditional stages. So if a value on the develop was yes or no. If it's yes, it could do one thing. If it's no, it could skip a stage and go to propose. So a lot of flexibility with how we create these. Okay, I'm going to close out of that, and I'm not sure what that bad gateway is over there, but eventually we're going to basically mark a opportunity as won or lost, just like with the qualify of the lead. So if I close it as one, it's going to pull some of this information, estimated close date, estimated revenue. It's going to assume that's what I want. It'll use today's date, but I could always modify that, and I can put in a description here. And once I say okay on this, and I have won this opportunity, if I go back to my dashboards and I look at some of these charts and graphs, for instance, if I looked at closed opportunities that are won, that particular opportunity is gonna show up in there now. So quite a bit of information there. One final thing I want to show, and then we'll take some questions, is just activities. So if I hop into activities, there's a lot of ways to slice and dice this or have different views and different filters. Activities, really, this is stuff I need to be working on and things I need to get taken care of. So just real quick, I wanted to point this out. If I want to hop into my activities and say, give me stuff that I need to complete, the due date is within the next 7 days or earlier, I can put a filter on that, and then I can start working through these activities, mark them complete. I can always open these up and add some notes and have some different options on that as well. So a lot of different ways to see activities, my activities, other activities, open activities, closed activities, and then have some filters on the due date so we can really dive in and see what we need to be doing. Okay, Angie, I think we're ready for some questions if we have any questions.
Yes, we do. Are there different license types for Dynamics 365, and what can you do with each license type?
Yeah, great question. So let me plug in a link here that kind of describes this, and we'll take a look at this. These are the standard. Now, remember, Dynamics 365 is a large umbrella. It's not just sales. There's operations, financials, other things. But if we're mainly focused on the CRM components, sales, what we have is a professional license, an enterprise license, a customer engagement plan. This one includes field service and project service automation. And then we have a relationship sales that also has the LinkedIn navigator. So there is some nice integration between LinkedIn and Dynamics as well. And so if we scroll down here, you'll kind of see what each one has. If it's a smaller company, maybe under 20 users, a lot of those are pretty good with this professional license. And again, if they're mainly focused on sales, these are fairly similar, professional and enterprise. There are some things like Inside View that is not included with the professional license. So you can see Inside View is not there, social engagement, and some other things. But this page gives you kind of a good idea of what that is. I guess I can maybe take this link and post it into the chat. Let me do that. Okay, so I think I just posted that link into the chat. So if anybody needs that, they have that.
Okay,
Other
great.
questions? Yeah.
Yes. Can you show me how I would modify a list view?
Yeah, so if let's say we're looking to modify like a list view of accounts, for instance. So here's a default all accounts list view. There's this button called Advanced Find. This is a really powerful tool. You can use it for any type of data. But if I open up this Advanced Find, it's going to say, hey, I see that you're on accounts and you're on this view called all accounts. Now what I can do is say save as and say all accounts, or let me actually change it to accounts, and we'll just give it a date and save it. And so now I'm working on a new list view. And the main things that I would typically do would be I'd edit the columns. So right now you can see account name, main phone address, primary contact. So if I go into edit columns, I can remove columns. If I don't care about the phone number, I can highlight that and remove it. If I don't care about status, I can remove that. And then I can add columns. When I go into add columns, basically it just gives me all the fields that are in the account table. And I can also get into related entities too. So let's say, you have a primary contact on your account, you would be able to pull in information from there, or from a parent account, or price lists, or other tables like that that are related to the account. So I could put in, parent account, other phone, payment terms, whatever I want. Those fields are over here at the right now. If I want to move them around, I can use these arrows and say okay. And at some point, you're just going to want, before you save it, you want to look at the results and just make sure, okay, yeah, that's the list view that I want, and then you can save it. The other thing that you can do is you could go under details, and this is basically the query that it's using to pull the data in. So right now it's just saying all accounts, it's pulling in every account. Well, if I only cared about active accounts, I could look at the status, or I think there's maybe an inactive or an active field, and I could filter based on that field. So for instance, I don't know, we'll go down to status and take a look at that. So status equals active or inactive. So if I just wanted to see active accounts, I put a filter on, I save it, and now I'm just looking at a list view of active accounts. So that's how we modify those list views. And what's nice about these list views, again, is that the list views are used when you're creating charts and graphs and dashboards. So if you get really familiar with how to modify these list views, it gives you a lot of flexibility with charts and dashboards and things like that. Okay, other questions?
Yes. Will the email integration work with Mac Outlook?
Yeah, so let me pull up the, basically Microsoft has a big kind of compatibility matrix for this Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. Let me put this website in the chat as well. But if we scroll, I think it's about halfway down here, we're going to see supported browsers for Outlook on the web. And Firefox, Apple, Safari, if we're using a Mac, would be one of the supported browsers. Supported operating systems for Outlook on the desktop. You can see that Outlook for Mac is supported. There are stipulations on the Exchange server version. Mobile devices, here are the mobile devices that are supported: iPhones, Android phones, Windows phones. So yeah, this would be the reference to just double check and make sure it's supported. But you can definitely use that Dynamics 365 app for Outlook on Outlook for Mac. That is supported.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah.
That seems to be all the questions that we have for today. If anyone does have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact us and we will get those answered for you.
Yeah, and I think that wraps up my presentation, Angie. So I'm happy to turn it back over to you.
All right. Well, again, we want to thank everyone for attending, and thank you, Eric, for the informative presentation. We just wanted to let you know that we do have more events coming up this month. Check out our events page at innovia.com. And if you see anything that piques your interest, please register for one of those events. And we will have this up on our website later this week for you to review again, so be sure to check that out. So again, thank you everyone for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on one of our future webinars. Have a great day.
Thanks, Angie. Bye-bye.